Get started Tim Walsworth. There. Thank for being here. So this is you. If you don't know me, I'm Tim Walsworth. I'm from the Durango Business Improvement District. Board meeting.
Spots where you can look south there. Still got tons of stuff on Friday. Anybody like to eat pie? Oh, okay. There's one entrant right there. A pie eating contest. There's a watermelon eating contest. There's a pie baking contest. Local First and the Creative District do their first Friday art walk that evening. There's another contest at Esoterra. That one sounds like a brain freeze contest. Live music at 11th Street Station. Bull. What is a halving competition? Well, it's like a knife carving competition that 11th Street Station is putting together. Can't have 4th of July without hot dog eating contests, so we're going to do that as well. More live music, bullfighting again, the magic show, and then wrap everything up with a DJ dance party at 11th Street Station. So it's just tons of stuff, right? Hit that QR. That one. Just kidding. You know, we've heard a lot, right, from businesses that they're just a little frustrated and they don't feel heard on it. And right or wrong, perception's reality, and that is what we are hearing. And so the chamber, Kim, thank you. Local First, I think Doug's here, and BID teamed up on a
connect with the business owners, and the economic alliance is probably the most important thing I think we can do in the community. I think we're very arrogant if we think we can affect crime rates or anything to do with crime without the community in general. And so he asked me to share my vision, and so I'm going to tell you right now, I don't have one yet. I think the biggest thing, I'm kind of jumping ahead here a little bit, but the biggest thing I can do probably is come in and listen. When I came in as the deputy chief, Bob Bramer, I came in and I said, hey, I'm going to get situated. I'm going to kind of hear for a little bit. He said, we have no time to hear. It's time to get cranking. And he told me, let's go. And we took off. Definitely going to keep the momentum going. However, I do want to take a minute and listen inside and also listen externally. I truly believe that if we're going to police the values of the community, you have to know what those values are. And I feel like we know a lot of the culture, but we truly need to know the values of the city, the entire city, and that's everyone, not just those that we hear. And we got to figure out how to hear everyone, and then police those values. I don't believe we're law enforcement. The constitutional, the Constitution says that we want to create a more perfect union, right? And in order to do that, we need to seek justice. In order to seek justice, I think that we need to know what our community wants and how to create public safety, which means to prevent crime, not just to catch the bad guys. And early on, when I was a brand new police officer, I thought it's my job to catch the bad guys. And I thought I was really good at it, and then realized that I was kind of going in the wrong direction. And it's more about preventing crime in the first place and working with organizations to deter. And for years, police organizations had a hard time with treatment and things like that. We thought everybody needed to go to jail. Not only that, they needed to go under the jail. And over the years, we've definitely moved towards treatment, but then there's no treatment. They're like, we're gonna legalize everything, but we're gonna provide treatment. We're like, okay, we're in. We're finally in. We've matured as an organization, even across the nation. And we believe in this treatment, but the treatment never came. It just, things got legalized and the deterrent went away to send people to treatment, and there's no treatment because it's expensive, but that's a whole different discussion. Everything in Durango is centered We're working with the city right now, and there's a new contractor and they're pretty amazing with the databases and the things that we're using right now to input all of the answers to all the questions. Because how can you know if you're really part of a good organization if you can't define it first and then figure out what those outcomes are, and that those truly the values of the citizens. And so the city has just changed their mission statement, why they exist, and their vision, what we aspire to be, and our core values. And it's something we can actually memorize and say now, and they're not great big paragraphs. And everything we do goes back to the mission. This is not like me anymore.
I'm sorry.
No, that's fine.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're fine. Oh, excellent. Fix it, whatever it is. So, and I looked at this group's vision and mission as well, and how we align. Now these are hot off the press. These are from the police department, and my team doesn't even know what these are yet. And because we're going to change some things. Now the mission is going to be driven from internally. That's just going to be kind of a kickstart for them, and something that we're thinking about to empower safety and inspire trust through collaboration and ownership. There's always partnership, but I love the word ownership because really this is your community, right? And if the community has ownership in everything, then we're all in this together. And it's not a partnership, it's not a us and them. And so that's words mean things. And to reduce the number of crime victims and help every victim feel safer. And we're gonna establish that through our customer service statement that we have as well. Now the vision is going to stand because the vision should come from me. I think the mission should come from within the department, but the chief should come with a vision. And it's police and the community are united in their commitment to protecting the vulnerable and enhancing organizational legitimacy, because I think we have to have trust. The people have to trust us, because the only way we can police is if the citizens allow themselves analyst. And Mackenzie Purdue yesterday took that position. She's here with me. And so I'm super happy to have her. I need to hire a deputy chief. We have some amazing applicants right now. And we also have one internal candidate. And so we're going to have, hopefully that
Social, VFW,
and other things.
Southwest Civic Winds, Rotary Park,
but
and don't forget
about 100 calls a day in Durango. Just so you know, we're a little city with big city problems, and so, well, I'm speaking to the choir, right? Preaching to the choir here, so everybody knows that. We're going to continue to diversify our department by collaborating with the college and paid interns. We are working to have a functional municipal court. I'm going to talk about that in a little more in a couple of minutes. It's expensive. It's expensive to have a functional municipal court, but we have to have one. We would go down to the convenience store, for instance, and they would take a bottle of booze, and we'd show up and they'd drink it right in front of us and take the ticket and then go get another one, and we'd come back again. We really didn't have a functional municipal court where there was a deterrent and there were actual warrants and people went to jail if they never came to see the judge. And we're working on precision policing, where it's just like the top 5 to 7 people. We have to create that deterrent, and we've done that with the court system. But now we need people to transport people back and forth to court. We need a bailiff and things of that nature, and it's expensive. And so we're trying to weigh that out and figure that out right now too, and how that looks. I told you I wasn't going to come up with a vision or plans or anything yet. I'm just going to do a lot of listening, but there are some things I want to do. I want more bike patrol. I want more foot patrol. There's things we're going to look at there. And we're going to look at diversion and treatment, especially with the municipal court. We have an amazing judge that is working with community members right now. There's a lot of community members that say, you should do this, you should do that. And we're like, okay, we'll come to the table and let's all do it together. And we're working with, MANA and Access and Community Compassion Outreach and all these folks and bringing them in. And we're looking for diversion for these smaller crimes. And if we can work on the smaller crimes, maybe they won't turn into big crimes, right? And so we're working on a lot of that stuff too. And then the Southwest Opioid Response District, just met with them and got plugged in. There's $750 million coming to Colorado from litigation, and all the counties joined together and said, really, we can't do anything with the money ourselves, but if we all put it together, we could do something. And they're looking at some treatment. We can't do full treatment facilities and stuff because it's just not sustainable with the kind of money. I mean, those are really expensive, but there's some other things that they're looking at that are intuitive and intentional, and I'm pretty excited about, and there'll be more on that later. I looked at your mission and what the Alliance is all about, and it reminded me of one quick story. Down on Main, there was this guy washing windows. He went inside, left all his window washing equipment outside, went inside, got paid, came out, and there was a gentleman that actually has passed away, and we tried to visit with the courts and have a functional court system and try to work through the commitment process, because we knew he was going to freeze, and he eventually did. But he was going up and down the street causing problems, and we were needing to interject into that too, and we didn't have the ability to at that time, which we do now. And he grabbed the windshield wipers, the window washers, and all the equipment stuff, broke it, threw it in the street, and just started screaming. And the guy came out, and he's like, all my stuff's broken, what's going on? He's like, I just went down and bought this. I just started my new business, and today's my very first payday, and now all my stuff's broken in the middle of the street. And we said, don't worry, and we gave the guy a ticket. And he said, you just give it, and he watched him walk away. And he literally told us, I wish you wouldn't have come. I wish I could have just took care of this myself. And there's really nothing. And then one of the officers went back and wanted to take a collection to pay the guy for all of his stuff. And one of the supervisors is like, if we start doing that, we're going to be doing that all over town. Let's look at something real. And that's when we started looking at the municipal court system, and looked to have an actual functional court, because we need to protect the victims, and we need to protect the businesses, we need to protect the vitality. That's the foundation of everything within a community, and it's going to help the individuals that are in crisis too get through that system and get to a place where, so something really small, stuff like that's going on every day, but just so you can kind of see what's going on with that. They gave me about 10 minutes, so I mean, that's our customer service statement. I'm not going to go through that, but we have one if you're interested in knowing where we stand on that. And please call us and question us on it. If you feel like you're not getting the service, and it better not be a governmental service, but the service that you deserve as a citizen, then hold us to task. We also have a community complaint review committee that looks at all of our citizen complaints every year. And these people that we asked to be on these committees, a lot of them came to us with complaints. They're not throwing us softballs. And so we're constantly, our values are in line, but our evaluations are also in check, and we're doing that through the community. So hold us to task, please, and continue to, if you need anything, call us and stay in touch. So we also have comp stat that we look at. I'm not going to go through a bunch of stats because I only have 10 minutes, and you got me out of an agenda meeting where we have to report to the mayor and everybody else, and you got me out of that this morning for a little while. I got to go back. But I do need to get out of here. So with CompStat, so what we're able to look at, we're able to look at all of our statistics. Where we can look at, and I'll come back to this in a second, but we report to the mayor and council on quarterly and monthly. In our monthlies, we look at each month for the past 4 years and where we are specifically on this month. And then on the quarterly stuff, we also we compare quarters, but as you can see here, we also compare quarters by year. And we try to look for trends, to look for strategic planning, and really try to delve into outcome-based public safety, not law enforcement, right? That's what I said earlier. So public safety, and we really try to look for the outcome-based stuff, and we do that through CompStat, but we also do that for our employees. We can look at an entire shift and see if our employees are doing DUIs, if they're working on theft, if they're working on this. And then you can look at each employee and see if they are covering the same workload as the other employees. And then we have systems that we also work with, catching cases and detectives, and how well we're working with that. But what's cool now is the DA is jumping on board, and it's no longer, hey, why'd you plead that case or whatever, in the interest of justice. That's a term. And that term just has stood alone for years. And now the new DA is awesome, Sean, and he's jumped on board with this dashboard. And we're gonna kind of correlate that with what we're doing and then what effect it's actually having. And that's where we've had a gap for years on the prosecution and the recidivism rates, and be able to look at that as well. And then we're also able to compare that to state and federal statistics. And I'll tell you where we're high in Durango. Vehicle theft, people leaving their car doors open. Almost all of them are just doors left open, which is on us and on the individual leaving it open. And vehicles being stolen. We have a lot of people coming from Phoenix, Albuquerque, and everything else. And that's another thing with the bid, and I appreciate Tim this morning. They have a website where they're all talking to each other, and we really want them to talk to us and each other, because they generally pick up on these folks that we need to know that are in town before anybody else. There was one recently they had down here in the stores that was just staring at women and being really creepy. And I'll tell you what, my wife can pick out a creep. I think I can. Like, I've worked undercover narcotics for years and everything else. I see dope deals going in parking lots. I see everything, but I never see a creepy person. She's like, that guy's a creep. But the bid can do it. But if we can just get that information through to the police department, at least it doesn't have to be illegal. At least we know. But I guarantee you we start having problems throughout the week with that individual. And then we have that background information as well. And we can tie it to something else and actually strategize, and those are outcome-based things that we're talking about. And so like I said, I'm not going to go into these individually. I might hit on this one a little bit. So drug crimes are really high, and the mayor saw this. We have a new opioid position because of fentanyl. That's a grant-funded position, and so we're actually more proactive right there. So now we're just looking for a baseline. Now that we have a lot more arrests and whatnot, we're gonna have to get a baseline on this before we can kind of see where we're at there for strategy. And then, you know, quality of life crimes, we track that, which, you know, like urinating in public, all the open container, and a lot of that comes from people experiencing homelessness, and we try to make strategy around that and work with the community as well. And Eric. So. And that term just has stood alone for years, and now they're the new DA is awesome, Sean, and he's jumped on board with this dashboard, and we're gonna kind of correlate that with what we're doing and then what effect it's actually having, and that's where we've had a gap for years on the prosecution and the recidivism rates, and be able to look at that as well. And then we're also able to compare that to state and federal statistics. And I'll tell you where we're high in Durango. Vehicle theft, people leaving their car doors open. Almost all of them are just doors left open, which is on us and on the individual leaving it open. And vehicles being stolen. We have a lot of people coming from Phoenix, Albuquerque, and everything else. And that's another thing with the bid, and I appreciate Tim this morning. They have a website where they're all talking to each other, and we really want them to talk to us and each other, because they generally pick up on these folks that we need to know that are in town before anybody else. There was one recently they had down here in the stores that was just staring at women and being really creepy. And I'll tell you what, my wife can pick out a creep. I think I can. Like, I've worked undercover narcotics for years and everything else. I see dope deals going in parking lots. I see everything, but I never see a creepy person. She's like, that guy's a creep. But the bid can do it. But if we can just get that information through to the police department, at least it doesn't have to be illegal. At least we know. But I guarantee you we start having problems throughout the week with that individual. And then we have that background information as well. And we can tie it to something else and actually strategize, and those are outcome-based things that we're talking about.
And obviously we got our director updates, but kind of want to just reiterate, this is Mike's last official meeting in his position. And so make sure and give him lots of hugs, because he loves hugs. Okay. All right. So I think we're going to go ahead and jump forward with Eric at this point. Out of order just a little bit. All right, Mr. Eicher, come on in. Yes, this is all you.
Hey, good morning. Sorry, Sarah, thank you so much. With that, I'm Eric Eicher. I'm the president of the Alpine Bank. As well as one out at Bryce. So Alpine Bank was started in 1973.
Colorado. We initially were under
When we did our ribbon cutting at $50 silver. We cut that. We're going to talk a little bit more about investment, but the very first act that we did was get back. 2005, we opened our branch in downtown. We had 6 employees. We've expanded and grown. We've added a location out of Spring. We currently have area. I personally have been at the bank consuming information until Saturday. Doing this conversation goes well, and the cost doesn't fire me. It'll be 26 years on Saturday. Fort Lewis grad, been around for quite some time. We're going to talk a little bit about who Alpine Bank is, what we do, a little bit, but we're primarily known for 2 things. Our customer service as well as our investment. One of the things that allows us to do that is our financial structure. So Alpine Bank in 1983 started our employee stock ownership plan. Unusual for a bank to do that. It actually became legal in the early 80s, and we were early adopters of that. We donate or give our employees, all of our employees, 7% of their salary. Alpine Bank will going ongoing shares of stock on a basis, based on their compensation. That ESOP currently owns between 20 to 30% of all outstanding shares, which is our single largest shareholder. That allows us to be independent. This next slide's a little bit messy, so I apologize. What we've done is, or what I'm trying to show you, is what has occurred with cash deposits within LaPlata County as well as Durango proper for the last several years. If you look at this slide, up till 2020, which there was a little thing called COVID, you recall, happened. Previous to that, you can see deposits covered about $1.4, $1.5 billion in the county. So then COVID hits. A lot of things happened with COVID, but how it affected banking specifically is we had people that quit spending money. We had PPP, we had idle, and we had stimulus checks. So similar to banks across the entire country, banks in La Plata County and Durango proper saw their deposits spike. So remember, early 2020 COVID hits, we see deposits jump. So banks literally increased deposits by over 50% in about a 2-year period of time. So banks are flush with cash, they're lending it and investing. We'll come back to this. I'm going to
Jump forward on one slide.
back to this. So at the same period of time, this gray area here is referencing a recession that occurred, a brief recession, but these are the Fed funds interest rates. And what happened is, as bank deposits increased in 2020, we were lending it out and it was basically free. You guys all took advantage of that. But also on the deposit side, banks weren't really paying a whole lot. Well, in 2022, good at this. So what happened is March 10th, 2023, with the rising interest rate environment, we saw a bank failure that somewhat came out of the blue. We had talked about it for about a week, and then there was a run on the bank failure. So what had occurred is we had some banks that were investing on adjustable rate loans to start up with very high risk businesses. Won't go into their business model, but ultimately they explained they're not going to be paying dividend. That caused some panic in the market. Social media got a hold of it. It's a different topic. And there was a run on those two banks. Those two banks ultimately failed. It was about a 48-hour period of time in which the banks failed. So at that time, there was a lot of conversation about deposits within all banks across the entire country. We saw an exodus of bank deposits for that were not FDIC insured. We saw people taking deposits out of banks and putting them on mattresses elsewhere, maybe coffee cans in the backyard. But you start seeing a decrease in deposits after those bank failures in 2023. Of note, this information does come out as of June 30th of every year. The report comes out about September, so we won't have this information for several months. But it'd be interesting to see how Plata County offers deposits will look at this.
If you have questions, we'll stick around.
So the other thing that Alpine Bank is known for are our community investment. So this graph here, the top line is how much we have donated here in La Plata County towards our nonprofit partners. Pre-COVID, we were a little shy of $325,000. When COVID hit, it's not that we pulled back, but nonprofit events really stopped for the most part, or pulled back significantly. Some pivoted and changed their model. 2021, again, events started to happen a little bit. 22, a little more popular than last year. We exceeded 300,000 again for the first time in several years. Of note, we have kind of two buckets that we donate the funds out of. One is just our profits that we have on an annual basis. So these are just allocations that I have on my budget. And then the second one, the darker graph there, are loyalty debit card program. So for those of you who don't know, if you swipe a debit card of ours, we donate 10 cents, we put it in the bucket, and then we distribute that out as needed when all of those funds stay here.
That's just for LaPlata County.
In 2023, Alpine Bank donated a little over like with that, the other thing that we're known for is our customer service. So I put up our net promoter score. So net promoter score is basically factors passive. You subtract that from the promoters. These are those surveys that you score people 1 to 10. 9 and a 10 is the promoter. 7, 8 is passive. 0 to 6 is the detractor. We keep close track of this, but here in the Plata County, at least last year, I scored fairly high, and promoter score of 92%. If you Google, or as of yesterday, when you Google net promoter score for all banks throughout the entire country, the average is 34. So this is something that we are very proud of and monitor closely by a lot of third party contributors. And then with that, yes. Park started on June 20th. Lamb Timbo and Family Band. Sponsor started on July 30th. If you're interested, we have fired a pizza feature as admin as well as grass burger. And then what you didn't see on Tim Walsworth's initial conversation was there is not a concert on July 1st. So with that, we hope to see you out there and appreciate your time.
Thank you very much for what you do, especially for our community. And that was a big number when you look at the last 4 or 5 years, their contribution to our community. And that's for all of us. So thank you very much for what you do. I already did this. All right. We're going to go ahead and go fast forward into Miss Kim. I'm going to introduce you.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Kim Euler. I am the Chief Operations Officer, and then I also play interim CEO on TV. As you know, Jack Llewellyn, he, after 17 years, he moved on to another career opportunity, and we're very excited for him. We're very sad to see him go. But we will be having a party. So I invite all of you on June 18th. So next Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. at the chamber. Please stop by and say thank you to Jack for everything that he has done for the past 17 plus years. All right. There will be beer. Oh, I'm glad you're going to be there. So it's June 18th, next Tuesday, 4 to 6 p.m. at the chamber. And then also I wanted to build off of what Tim had talked about with the next steps. Oh, wait, before I do that, sorry. Speaking of CEO, we do have a selection committee that is reviewing applications. Applications just closed on Friday. We had over 30 responses. So, it's a highly desirable job, I think, and a very important one. So our committee will be reviewing that and going through the process. We would love to have somebody in place that summer. So hoping that everything goes smoothly and along the timeline that we have laid out. So that's the process for the CEO. So it's pretty exciting for us. So speaking of the next steps, as I said, I just wanted to give you a little bit of background behind that. When it was back in like March or April, we were approached by several businesses who were very concerned about the next steps and just expressing that they didn't feel like their voice was being heard. And so we decided that we wanted to do a survey. So Jack and I approached Bid and Local First and invited them to participate with us so that we could get a broad spectrum of responses. And so first we wanted to do a survey so that we could gather data and ask questions. you know, what types of questions that our business owners had, what concerns they had. And so we gathered all of that information. And so now we're going through the process of analyzing that. Like Tim said, we would like to have a forum with the city. We had given the city a heads up that we were doing this, and we even had them look at the questions beforehand. So we will share the results with the city and then with our city council members as well. So that's the process on that.
You have timers on your slides.
That's what's advancing your slides. Not me. All right, take it.
Yeah. So speaking of advocacy, we have, that is a big piece that the chamber does. We do a lot of advocacy work. And so that's, you know, making sure that the business community's voice is heard. And that's a really important piece of it. It's one piece that probably not a lot of people know about because it's a lot of behind the scenes work that we do. And so this is one of the things that we're doing is the Eggs and Issues Forum on the legislative wrap up. So it's a discussion of what happened with this last legislative session that wrapped in May. We have two people from Denver, a lobbyist who is very well known in the lobbying world and very well respected. And then also the Colorado Competitive Council, which is a pro-business organization that really pays attention to, that's fine, that really pays attention to, you know, what's happening from a business perspective. And so we, okay. So Rachel Beck and Travis Berry from Denver are coming down to Durango on June 27th, which is a Thursday, and it will be at the DoubleTree Hotel. We invite you to attend because it talks about what kind of issues that the business community will, you know, how it will be impacted, what issues were discussed at the you know, legislative session, this past session, which ones passed, which one failed, which ones may be brought up again next session that you need to be talking about. It's really important that our business community know about this, just so that you all can have a voice. A lot of times folks in Denver forget that we're here in Colorado. And so it's really important that we have that voice that we can lend to, you know, the lobby or the legislators up in Denver so that they know how that impacts us and if we want to oppose it or if we want to support something. So I invite you to attend that. DurangoBusiness.org is the website. And then we also have an annual employment law update. If anybody has employees, then you should attend this. This is where Michael Santo from Santo Betchel, he's an employment lawyer who lives in Grand Junction, but he comes over to Durango every year, and he provides information as to, you know, what changes there are with the law as it relates to employees, the HR world, what you need to put in your handbook. So there are a lot of great updates. It's August 14th, 8 to 4 p.m. It's at Fort Lewis. So I invite you to attend to that because it's a really great session. He has a lot of good information. He brings his whole team over so that he can share that information with you. I know that you all have so many things that you're doing with your operations that you don't have time to research this. You don't have time to read about it. And so this is a great, efficient way to learn about what's going on in the employment law world. And I think that's it. Great. DurangoBusiness.org is the website for any additional information. Thank you so much.
Great job. So you saw some small technical difficulties in there, but you know what? We just keep working through it. All right. So it is my first time to announce our executive director, Mike Prince, for the last time.
So I don't have any timers on my phone.
Oh, yeah.
I have a story to tell. In February of 2020, I took the job, and I had some very grandiose plans.
Although I wasn't confident of knowing anything about economic development, it's not my background. I did have confidence in that my experience would somehow lend to what we were trying to do. I was extremely humbled 30 days later, as was most of everybody else, when we had to shut down essentially Main Street, essentially the economy. And, you know, what we didn't realize, because we were living in our own little microcosms, we were participating in the global pandemic. And it impacted everybody. It was
Scary. Suffered through months of challenges, including some mental fatigue, people worried about their careers, and that put us in a very precarious position, right? Because we were essentially supposed to be focused on what I realized is that the community really presented itself and really kind of redefined what the community was, especially in my eyes. I think today we're seeing a lot of the silver linings and a lot of the sort of outcomes of that. The community has been extremely resilient. We came out of the pandemic, I think, stronger than we were going into it. And you're seeing incredible collaboration between so many different organizations that didn't quite necessarily. I really hope that continues. Not only did the community sort of redefine itself, the outcome now is we have a changed economic things. So as a result of the pandemic, we had to really get involved in things that we weren't involved in.
And that's those housing, and going deep into workforce development, how we're looking at childcare, and the
aggressive nature of the structure of the economic organization continues to change all over the country. I'm really proud of what we've done in terms of how we've structured, how we've looked at the community and address the biggest challenges. I'll say one last thing is I came into this thinking that I could potentially have an impact on the committee, and it would actually end up being personally, kind of didn't realize what I was too, and now that I'm through it, out the other end, I feel like I'm a change person. Have a message of gratitude. The first thing I want to give gratitude to is the board. We had just a tremendous board that just gave me a ton of support, gave the team a ton of support throughout the years. I don't think we could have gotten through the pandemic and then post-pandemic economy and modification of our business model if it wasn't for that kind of leadership. Second thing I want to give credit to is the team. Constantly surround myself with people that are smarter than me, people that have just tremendous passion, have tremendous purpose, and that really was inspirational. As everybody in here is a leader, so you all know
what it means to surround yourself with just incredible team. I really benefited from having that kind of team, those kind of people around me. The third thing I want to give credit to is the membership. I think that
the Alliance, the staff, the team looks to the membership customers, as they should, and the voice of the customer was always very clear, and that really gave us the North Star and gave us an idea of where we're going. Last thing I want to give credit to is Sarah for stepping in. I'm really excited about the next chapter that the Alliance will embark on. I'm very confident that the Alliance is going to continue to evolve. And I'm very confident that we're evolving from an incredible foundation. So with that being said, this is my 52nd meeting.
Right. And I look forward to the third that Sarah will run. And I just want to say thank you for the time. Thank you for the
Very much appreciate that.
Remember hugs.
yeah.
With that, I'd like to introduce our new executive director. It's October.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. So good to see you all here. As Mike said, he didn't know what he was getting into. I feel the same way. When he introduced the succession plan to me, I said, sure, we're going to go through this. Here we are, and here we go. I'm so delighted to be in this seat again. For those who don't know my background, I have been an executive director before for a statewide nonprofit, and where I've been able to pass 2 bills in the legislature. And I also spent some time as executive director here in Colorado for a couple of small nonprofits, including a short stint at the First Foundation, as well as Dark Sky Colorado. So this is not totally new to me, but the foundation is amazing here. So I'm super excited for the next things ahead of us. All right, here we go. And of course, the big exciting news for the Alliance for the second half of the year is our upcoming annual summit. It will be on September 19th at Sky Casino. And we have already secured a couple of dynamite speakers that interplay with our new theme, P3, people, place, purpose. Most of you all know the Alliance for our P3 work and public-private partnerships, but we're going to kind of shift the focus a little bit to some other, the people, the workforce, the employers here, to the place, this amazing place that we get to live, work, and play in, and then our purpose, our mission-driven work that goes beyond just the office and just the So a couple of our speakers, Captain Charlie Plum is going to be speaking on personal growth, really incredible presentation in the morning. And then Matthew Emerson, he is the founder and CEO of Every Monday Matters, and he's an author, and he's going to be speaking again to that people component of our team. So get ready for that excitement. And also, we will be announcing a couple more speakers on the next meeting. So just some updates on where the Alliance is headed, where we're at today, where we're headed for the rest of the year. We are hiring a finance business director role. So that role is on our website, and it's also been placed on employment websites as well. So we're excited to be bringing on that role that will help fill out our team and all of the work that we have ahead of us. Workforce development run. We've got the 2 leadership cohorts this summer. The first one has already been filled and has already started. We're midway through it. It's been very exciting to be able to offer this to the community at no charge. And then the second leadership one is coming up in July. So we're excited to be bringing these leadership micro certifications by industry or industry here from the And then for our housing, the Housing Catalyst Fund, we just closed round 20. And those recommendations are moving from the working group to the Catalyst Fund committee. So we expect to have announcements here in the next couple of weeks about who is going to receive those grants And then we have had 4 applications and we will be revising that preservation and use of funds in the rubric. This is our 3rd round and it just keeps getting sharper and sharper. We're so excited to have 7 projects that are still moving forward. That will be 400 units of workforce housing in LaPlata County. And we're going to keep those in that. Very Jay, we are working on a LaPlata County housing needs assessment. So the legislature mandated that every municipality needs to have a housing needs assessment. And we are trying to make sure that we are able to provide this for all 4 municipalities that are part of that party chain. So that's the city of Durango, Bayfield, Mansfield, and LaPlata County. So we are doing a housing needs assessment for all 4 of those municipalities, government entities. And this will help us to completely understand where our employees are commuting from, what their housing needs are. So we're very excited to be moving forward with that housing needs assessment. I think we've announced about the Building Capacity Grant, but we have issued a $192,000 grant that will help add capacity for those 4 jurisdictions as well. So that's an important part of the platform is that we are able to help fast track some of those workforce housing projects. So we're excited to be getting started on that. And the Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund, as many of you know, Mike and a number of folks on our team were able to secure some DIDF funds to start the Catalyst Revolving Loan Fund for the RHA. And that resulted in about $970,000 for this loan fund by the end of the year. Right now, we're working with 935. We have the terms have been approved by the RHA board. We have a revolving loan fund committee that will be reviewing them and making those recommendations to the RHA board, who will ultimately determine which projects receive funding or not. And we already have had 2 loan applications from the board, so we anticipate that we will be able to get our first loan here in June. And then construction for workforce housing projects. So again, being able to provide that local funding source is pivotal for these projects as we're trying to leverage that for state resources and other funders. And as Mike mentioned, we are helping to support the child care need here in LaPlata County. We've learned so much with workforce housing that we wanted to apply some of what we learned to the child care need. We also see the nexus between child care and workforce housing. And so we have teamed up with the city of Durango and RHA and Early Child Council of LaPlata County to apply for a Ready grant, which is what we did for the workforce housing investment strategy. So we hope to hear something back this week from them. And we were also able to support some funds from the organization. So what that means is we'll create an investment strategy that once again is the landscape of all of LaPlata County, drilling down into the municipalities, and particularly the needs of child care, as well as strategies, just like we did for workforce housing. We have a public-private partner and leverage resources to help take a bite out of this crisis. So what's next for the Alliance? So anybody who wants to know what kind of leader I am, I think it's really helpful that you can all take some good advice from that leadership, right? I'd rather be scared of those. Easy, both. Yeah, I've been in the leadership role before, and I'm so grateful that Mike has had so much faith in me and in moving me back into the driver's seat, if you will. It has been amazing these last couple of years to be working in space where we get to be really impactful. And I know a large portion of that is due to our membership. You all let us know what's going on in the employee workspace, what the needs are, what the priorities are. And then Mike has created a very nimble team that allows us to really plug in and look for solutions in that space. So so grateful for his leadership and grateful to be continuing at this level. So some of the initiatives, some of them that I covered in what we're working on, but we are going to, got a big space to fill with high meeting, get that team rounded back out again. So we can continue the great work, the Alliance Summit, and I like what Chief Curtin said about outcomes. These are our outcomes for the rest of the year. So this is what we can expect from the Alliance by the end of the year. That we will have another successful Alliance Summit. That we will have a lot of county housing needs assessment that can be utilized for projects when they go to apply to state resources, that we can point to a number that the entire county and community can have consensus around. As well as we have been asked by Housing Colorado to have a panel here towards the end of the year from the RHA and myself that will talk about our public-private partnerships here in a lot of county and as it pertains to workforce housing and some of the innovative solutions we've been figuring here. As well as the early childhood investment strategy, we'll have another round of catalyst funds before the end of the year, and the RHA Capital revolving loan fund distribution. Undertaking and then help secure a sustainable funding source for workforce housing and child care. We're going to continue that work and hope to have some solutions in place by the end of the year. And then if we're lucky, we might squeeze it out.
All right.
Just remember, it's Chief Bryce, right? That's what Chief Bryce, we'll call him that. All right, Matt had to bug out pretty quick, so I get the honor of saying, here, Jessica.
And I'll try to be quick. I know we are out of time. A couple of things. We just launched the Economic Development Incentive Program. It's live on the city website. If you have any questions, hit up Tommy. He did a great presentation on that last month. We have a couple of new projects that just got announced at City Council last week, which are super exciting. We had an RFQ in March for developing the parking lot that's across the street from the library. And we got 3 proposals for that. The one that was selected is a great combo of childcare, affordable childcare and housing. So we're partnering with Tri-State, County Head Start, as well as Bave for the housing, and we're going to do a new Tri-State Head Start plus a bunch of housing over there. The final project was announced over at Old Campus High School for the Twin Buttes transfer fee. That is going to be 22 new housing units over there. So a bunch of new housing happening, and which is great news. And I feel like it'd be remiss, downtown's next steps was brought up a couple times today. So I wanted just to address real quick a couple of things. If you do have questions or concerns, please feel free to reach out by email to City Council. I have met personally with 3 downtown business owners in the last month, and I know staff does too when we can. I remember before I got elected to council, I came in this building and we were doing design drawings. So it's over 3 years ago. We had one that was like shutting down all of Maine. One business owner wanted to like shut down all of Maine, like Pearl Street and Boulder. We've gone through like so many processes. And I told staff the other day, I was like, clearly the way we're listening isn't the way some business owners need to be listened to. And so reach out. I will come and meet with you, or city staff will come and meet with you, and we can like try to chat a little bit, as well as when we get this feedback, hopefully be able to encourage that. We are doing a little pilot area, and then when I was meeting with Karen over at Seasons last week, I was like, you know, the big push for this was because our infrastructure in downtown is so old. Like we had a spot go out and Wonderland go out, and we had to shut down all of one for an entire like 2 days for all of businesses in a whole block because they don't have individual water taps. That's not okay for business. And so we're trying to fix that. And then before I was on council, Melissa went down with some other counselor in a wheelchair down Main Avenue. That's a nightmare. And so we're working on ADA compliance, we're working on fixing infrastructure. And so why not make it the best we possibly can? If you see the bulb outs when we paint them off and you hate them and you have better ideas, like this is the time to do it. And so let's talk about it. Let's make it the best we can. Let's find some middle ground that we both probably hate. And then we'll put that in the end. So there you go.
Excellent update. All right, Commissioner Hart.
Bayfield.
My name is Alexis Hart. I am Mayor Pro Tem for Town of Bayfield. Just want to invite you all out. We're starting our block parties for the summer. They're the second Tuesday of every month instead of the third. So this is Thursday, come on out. In our town, lots of businesses, lots of nonprofits, great live music and a beer or two if you like. We are starting our strategic plan as a town board and we just completed our town staff. Continue with housing and execution. Well, yes, thank you.
All right, we're coming down to the end. Usually when I get up here, we're coming down to the very end, so this is good. Hey, in Ignacio, we just approved a contract with Fading West to go ahead and slide into a slot to get 10 units for our housing complex in Ignacio. So hopefully we will see housing by the third quarter of this year. Lastly, in Ignacio, a week ago, we said farewell to our chief of police. With 32 years of service in the Ignacio area, 40 years total through the Plata County. He was with the sheriff's office. He bounced around a little bit, but you know, that's a long-term person. It's tough to replace. But we are replacing him with Chief Kroon, who was sergeant, and then Bryce moved up into our sergeant position. We're fully staffed in Ignacio. All right, so that was us. Pam, is she here? Vaughn, I see Vaughn back there. He's standing tall. Welcome. Good to have you here. Don't forget about True Western Events, and also a shout out to the coffee this morning. Thank you for being thank you for being the man to bring coffee. All right, next meeting is July 9th, it says. That's what I hear. And that's going to be on Sarah. Welcome again. Don't forget, the one word today from Mike French is hugs. All right, so all dismissed. Have a great day.